ABCs and math. Okay, everybody, today we're going to start talking about solving equations. In this case, we have an equation that says negative 18 times x plus 30 is equal to a negative 150. When we look at this, we have to see that ultimately our goal is to find out what x is equal to. In order to do that, we must get everything on the other side of the equal sign and x by itself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the plus 30, and we're going to do the inverse operation of plus 30. The inverse operation would be to subtract the 30 from the 30, which gives us a 0. So that cancels itself out. But what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we're also going to subtract the 30 from the negative 150. When you have two negative numbers, you're going to add them and they become a bigger negative. So you end up with a negative 180. Now, what's left on the one side of the equal sign is a negative 18x. You have to bring it down, and now you have a new equation, which is written as negative 18x is equal to a negative 180. So remembering that we're trying to get x by itself, we have to do the opposite operation of what's going on. So in this case, we have a negative 18 times x. So the opposite of that is to divide it. So we're going to divide it by the negative 18. And what we do to one side, we must do to the other. The negative 18 divided by negative 18 gives us a 1. So that cancels itself out and leaves us with just one x. So when you look at the negative 180 now and divide it by negative 18, you're going to end up with a positive 10. So at the very end of the problem, after we've done everything that we have to do, we end up with x is equaling to 10. Now, the next step that we're going to do is we're going to plug it back in to make sure that we are correct in our thinking and that our calculations were on point. So we have x equals 10, and then you go back with your first original equation and you put the 10 in where the x was, and you end up with a negative 180 plus 30 equals a negative 150. Since we have a negative and a positive, you subtract, and it will equal a negative 150. So in short, don't be afraid to use the ABCs in math. They're helpful.